Hey guys, it's Dark Siege, and I'm within the first 24 hours, one day, of Heroic Anthem, the new crystal tech. And I am extremely impressed on how far you can get on just buying the pop-ups, right? So I'm going to show you the path I took, what I spent, and I think this truly is a good thing for low to mid spenders. And I know some people disagree, and the proof will be in the pudding when we do fights, but I'm already seeing things to tell me that it's going good. Let's put it that way. All right, let's get into it. All right, if you're watching my video and you're trying to ignore somebody while you do it, I need you to like and subscribe. You know, like your wife, your husband, your kids. Yeah, all right, give me that like. Okay, the first thing I did was I maxed both buildings. The first one I maxed was this bad boy, the crystal mine, because I want to start to develop crystals early, and then you want to get in there and, you know, start getting it going. And what is the benefit, right? There you go. That's what you want to start out with, right? And then you get this bad boy. I maxed it, and I've heard some people say, hey, just take it to 23, because to get that 1% more isn't worth it off the bat, but I just do, right? So I went to 25, all right? I also bought the Crystal Mine Work Speed for 50%. So I think most players should at the very minimum get this. And it may have more value now, especially since stuff is coming earlier. And so the early gems, I think, are a little more valuable than they used to be. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. And then you do have the Karuak already popped off. And for us, it was the first 3 hours. And all you have to do, just so you, there you go, right? Let's go real quick to the monument. All right, at the end of this chapter, whether or not objective is achieved, all Crusader camps throughout the Lost Kingdom will be activated. And 12 hours later, there will be an opening for contending. Your coalition territory must join a Crusader camp to attack it. Okay, so basically, I think they're saying within the first 12 hours, this is going to pop no matter what. We had 20 alliances build their fortress before 3 hours, and so that popped for us immediately. So if that pops early, which for most people I think it will, the Karuak's reports and getting extra mines, I think, is that much more valuable. And I'll show you how I went down the path. Okay, so when you are looking at this, I think I made a mistake. Well, I know I did, right? It can get kind of confusing when you read the prerequisite for this one. It comes up with a lot of wordiness, and honestly, I was recording when I did it, and I think I was reading it but not paying attention and thought it meant one thing. I thought you had to get 3 and all the others to make it go. But I'm pretty damn sure all you got to do is just specialize in your world, and it'll open it up, right? I don't think it was the biggest error in the world, but I think it was an error. In any event, you can knock this out pretty easy, and then I shot for cutting corners off the bat. So let me tell you what I purchased, and I think that'll kind of tell you where I'm at. I purchased all the pop-ups, the premium season crystal supply that I showed you, the crystal crest. Let me show you that one. That's when you go in here and you get the advanced treasures. I bought that one, right? I'm trying to get all the gems I can early on to do the best I can. And I don't buy any Mountain Warfares. This is, you know, what I spend to make my impact as a siege player, right? Okay, and then I used flux scripts. So if you don't use flux scripts from the Poodle Mall, it's supposed to be like a third party, but I think it's just a first party, and it's trying to circumvent Apple Pay or whoever else that you go through. And as far as I know, nobody's had issues. I haven't had any scam issues. What I have had was, it's always when I do the Crystal Mine pop-ups bundle, is I always get a fraud alert on my card, and then it stops me from using it. And so I just go to my second card and I don't have any issue. This happened last time. And then on this time, I got a text message saying, hey, did you try to make this purchase? I say, yeah, then it opened up my card again. So you may run into that, especially while you're doing KVK, if this is the first time using the Pluto Mall. Okay, in any event, that's what I did. And I'm telling you, those extra scripts, flux scripts that you get do help out on the weird purchases. Because even though you buy the bundle for the crystal stuff, there's still stuff that pops up that is odd, like a $7.99 purchase. And it wasn't covered. And I bought everything that you're supposed to buy. And these other purchases come up, and it's just a pain in the ass. And actually, for the $7.99, I had to just buy it off of the Apple because the way it was set up, there's no value out of a flux script to use that. Okay. So let me show you the path I took. Let's go back to that. All right. So like I said, you start with your stats, 5%, and then the march speed. Again, this is from the perspective of a low spender or free to play. I try to work my way up through through improved projectiles, reinforced axles, and call to arms. And as soon as I can get to cutting corners, I do. And then on top of that, I try to get to cutting corners number 2. Now, I did a long video. It's about like an hour and a half. And feel free to watch it and speed through it. And you can see there's a ton of prerequisites that you need to get certain things. But and I'm going to tell you, that was my focus. My first focus was cutting corners 1 and 2. And then once you work through that, it automatically works through call to arms and some cultural exchange. And then so I was trying to get as high as I could in call to arms. And I got to number 8 in the call to arms number 2, right? And this bad boy was maxed out, call to arms 1. And once I got to 8, I really said, okay, I need to do the Karuak reports. And so I start dumping all my crystals into the Karuak reports, and that makes you get the cultural exchange, just like the old crystal tech where the cultural exchange used to be way in the hell over here somewhere, right? And it was like you had to get up to 7, but it took forever to get there. Now you can do it, at least for me, if you buy all the pop-ups in day 1, right? So, and this is without barb chaining. This is without doing any bastion quests. Straight up, I think somewhere I've spent around 23 million crystals, 22 million, somewhere around there. So we'll go back and I can check that if I remember real quick. So, but I wanted to focus on the Karuak reports because it was late for me and I was going to go to bed. And I wanted to get all those juicy crystals as I was sleeping. So it bumps it up 100%. Okay. Number 15, 100% damage. And the crystal outcome is 100%. To be honest, I didn't have any problems with doing damage on the easy mode. But, I just wanted to get those 100% crystal income, right? Okay, so after the crystal income, I maxed out call to arms 2, and then I kind of floated into the second set here of improved projectiles because I wanted to see how far I could get, and it wasn't bad at all. And I stopped on just opening siege defense, right, the first one, and I did one of those of the speed. And here's a second thought for you siege mains. If you farm gems like I do, right, you're going to want to get the march speed. And you're going to start pumping that up, right? But I waited until I also barb chain barbing. And so I put some crystals into this bad boy too. So for me, I did call to arms 1 and 2. And then I touched on the second set of stats as far as the attack. And then I pushed up barbs because now I went to bed at that point. But the next day, like today, I barb chained just a little bit. And I wanted to increase the value of me doing barb chaining. And so that's kind of where I'm at now within the first 24 hours. And I spent almost all my crystals, right? And I really like where I'm at. And so I think it gives you a little play on how you are and how you do KVK. If you want to, like I say, cutting corners is paramount. You push to call I pushed to call to arms 8, call to arms 2, number 8, because I knew if all else fails between now and an opening, I can get enough crystals to unlock both of these bad boys, right? So the last one to unlock is 750,000, which is not going to be a problem, especially when you use this bad boy. Right, I'm going to get enough to pop open and get enough crystals right here, right, on number 5. So that's not a concern to me. And so when you're thinking ahead like I know I can cover that, and I'm going to want to obviously go into some defense, but it's not going to be like critical for me. I'm thinking now, how do I produce more crystals and be as efficient as possible? And for me, that was getting cutting corners maxed out. So there's 15 here and 5% over here. So that's 20%. And then now I'm doing the barbs, right? I'm eventually going to just push the rest of this all the way to 15. And I noticed that there was like a good little price bump in the last couple ones, but you got to remember these are combined. These used to be 2 separate boxes, and now they're one. So I get it. Leadership, I'm not a rally lead, so this is not on my radar, and I'm sure it's going to be a prerequisite at some point, but it does not touch me right now. And these bad boys, I probably could have left alone, and I probably will, unless something comes up weird. But so far, so good. I'm really impressed on if you buy all the pop-ups, you can get Call to Arms 2, so you're going to be able to have your 400,000 troops, right? If you use that 50% expansion, you for sure get the 12.5 attack, and I have no doubt in my mind, let's look at this tree here, that at a scale of 10, there's no reason I don't get 6. Like, that's a minimum. And as I get closer, right, I'll start making decisions on where to put. But right now, I can tell you, it's going to be right here. It's going to be barb bounties, because I want to barb chain. And then I'm going to speed up as far as I can get on the speed. I'm going to do that because speed, even for fighting, is really important to me. To me, it's more important than the defense. So provided I don't have a prerequisite, which I think they probably will throw some in there, I'm going to max this out, my march speed, before I do defense. If I'm allowed to, right? I don't know what it's going to tell me. But that's just because I'm siege, right? Now, before we fight, I'll dip into healing costs, right? But I don't think I'm going to get anywhere significant, maybe, 5, 6 at best. And that's not a big, huge matter to me right now. I know I'll eventually get there. But to me, I look at, hey, if I have the march speed that I want, and I'll dip into the defense, then that'll help me not get damage. And then if I don't have damage, then I don't need the healing as much. So in some ways, you see what I'm saying there? I'm trying to stop from getting damaged. So I think there's value there. And then eventually I'll get over to the healing. I'm sorry, not the healing, but the health on the siege. And again, not that concerned about it. If I'm being completely honest, I mean, I'll get there and I want to get it. But march speed to me, like I'll dip into here and I'll open the march speed. And then I'll do march speed first. That's the way I see it. Could be wrong. And I may do it completely different. But in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. Like if I get more bang for my buck, because I'm have reduced crystal cost and there's one or the other, I'm picking march speed. Now, you may want to do the health. Knock yourself out. All right, guys. I really think as a low spender free to play, this is good so far. You can get all the attack you need, and I think you can get defense up to like 8, 9, or 10 points as far as percentage wise, and you probably can dip into a couple points of health. And for siege, specifically, it's not that important, but for other troop types, like if you're going single, you get to make your decision. Do I want to focus on, speed, or do I want to focus on health? And that's a question you genuinely have to ask yourself. And then the healing cost reduction, right? So I think this is a very, very good start, and I'm glad to see it that way. Hope this helps you out and gives you an idea of what you should do, or at least in your mind, like, okay, I can see why he did that. I may do the same, or like, scratch that. I'm going to focus on this area first. Dude, whatever makes you better, I'm just here to try to show you what I did and why I did it and how much I spent. Oh, let me show you the crystal cost, how much I did so far. I think in one of these you can see, okay, so I'm at 23 million and a half. So for 23 million, 24 million, That's what that gets you. All right, guys, range rocks. Hope this helps. Talk to you later. Bye.